I was like, "Man, I'm being set up here." Yeah, like, but I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I got it." He's like, "And do you think God gave you that gift so you could go and slap him in the face with it? Because that's what you're doing with your music.
Ooh.
You're using the gift that he gave you to slap him in the face. And he didn't give you that gift so you could rap about drugs or gangs or womanizing or all the other crazy stuff, you know? Um, and that's exactly what you're doing." And I didn't really have a response for it, you know, because I was like, well, I can't argue with that. I know he's right. You know, like I was still upset, but I was like, nah, point taken. You mean?
Mm.
Um, I'm like, dang, I'm looking at the audience and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, man, if my daughter were in this crowd right now and somebody else was saying the things that I'm about to say, I would be here like fighting. You know, like we would be here like, you know, throwing hands and yet I'm here about to say these crazy things to all these kids. I'm like, dang, we have a lot of influence and they're listening to us,
Mm.
and I don't got nothing better to say. But that night we had kind of a little bit of an argument, so to say, where I was like, bro, why would you book a bunch of gangster rappers, man, like to perform for kids, bro? I said, man, you should be ashamed of yourself, man. And he looked like right back at me. He's like, bro, I'm not rapping, and you should be ashamed of yourself. You know, and it was kind of again like the moment I had with my dad, where I was like, man, I can't really argue with it. And so that night, I've told you the story before, but for people who haven't heard it,
Mhm.
man, we had a little VIP section, in the club, and I found a little spot, and I ducked my head in shame on the table, and I just sat there and I just like cried uncontrollably for like what seemed like an hour. Um, and I promised God that I was done with it, man, with that type of music, and I was gonna try to rededicate my time, my talent, my treasure. Um, Something that I realized, a little bit later on down the line, I think part of the reason that I was crying so heavily that night too is because growing up, even though I believed in God, like I said earlier, I just I couldn't feel God's love. That was my struggle, right? Like I believed in him, but I just couldn't feel his love. Like I didn't feel like God loved me.
Mm.
And so that night I remember like that was the first night, man, that I felt God like tugging at my heart, or like calling me. You know what I mean? So I think that maybe even more so than my conviction was part of the reason I was crying, because it was the first time that I felt God's love.